Hello everyone and welcome to a new video from Your Overwatch. I'm Eddie the Chump and today we'll be talking about the high meme lord himself, Hanzo, his viability and how the pros are showing the rest of us how he should actually be used. Before we begin, I'd just like to mention that every time we go live with a video like this, we'll be streaming at the same time on our Twitch channel. The link to that can be found below in the description, so if you enjoy our videos, come over and say hi. With that said, let's get right into the video. Kit misconceptions. The first thing to talk about is the gap between where Hanzo's kit is effective and the community's perceptions of him as a hero. Even the game labels him as a sniper, which is actually quite misleading. Hanzo is of course capable of long-range single-hit burst damage kills, but the truth is, these require too many variables to go in your favour to be reliable. Because of the travel speed and arc of his projectile, being accurate requires your opponent to be still or move into the path of your shot. Both can happen, but aren't reliable. So beyond a certain distance, these kills have an element of luck involved in them. However, Overwatch as a game isn't really that viable for long-range sniper characters anyway. One only has to look at Widow and her limited applicability at the pro level to understand that. No, where Hanzo can actually excel, and how the pros are using him occasionally, is at medium range for high impact kills on offense. The reason being, this is the range that his damage can become more reliable. Offensive Hanzo, best Hanzo. Now the game labels Hanzo as a defense hero, but I would argue that's incorrect, and there's a good reason for this. High burst damage heroes are always capable of setting a defense on the back foot. This actually applies to Widow too. The reason is, the defensive respawn disadvantage weights their deaths as more impactful than a failed offensive push. In simple terms, if you can get a pick on a defending player, they are out of the fight for longer than if you had died and one of your teammates had traded for you. So if you can get that first pick with Hanzo, you've done your team a great service. What they should be able to do from man advantage is trade out the rest of the kills and take the objective. But actually getting the kills isn't the only job he can do. People think his recon arrow is a defensive information tool. Well actually the pros were using it to set up another burst damage hero like Roadhog for a hook from behind a Rhine shield, or to locate and remove a key target like an Ana before she can nano boost. This is one of the best parts of his kit and what makes Hanzo a stronger hero than Widow. The recon arrow shows enemies within its radius through walls just like Widow's ultimate does, but what makes it better is they actually don't know you can see them. Widow announces her ultimate, so people are highly unlikely to peek you. The recon arrow is very hard to spot, so enemies will peek all day long. That can be enough to create a game-winning opening at the top level and perhaps even more so against lower level opponents. The sweet zone. Hanzo has been utilised by pros in or against triple tank setups, the team comp that became popularised by Nip and others. Hanzo works here because tanks are large targets and easier for him to hit, so his high damage can be a fulcrum to undoing their health pool advantage. He's one of the best range options for melting tanks. Reaper is obviously better, but has to play right in the mix. He and Roadhog are some of the best heroes in the game at breaking a Rhine shield, so when used together in a triple tank setup on offense, they can be very dangerous. His scatter arrow also needs mentioning. At most levels of play, flanker heroes tend not to respect the lethality of this tool, but it can be just as dangerous to them as a flashbang from McCree. Even outside a triple tank setup, Hanzo can work well with heroes that create space for him, or provide follow-up on his high damage. An initiating Winston can provide both, for example, with Hanzo capable of exploiting a distracted enemy squishy within his effective range. He's kind of like McCree in that way. He can devastate if set up correctly. Additionally, he suffers the same weaknesses as McCree. He's very prone to being dove, but unlike McCree, he can actually use his wall climb passive ability to escape on the rare occasion. The ultimate wombo combo. The benefit of using Hanzo in the right setup is that his ultimate charges incredibly quickly if you're hitting shots, and it is perhaps the best 1-2 punch in the game when combined with Zarya Graviton. It bypasses shields, requires very little setup, and can easily team wipe. Obviously, like many other combos, it can be countered by a Zen Transcendence, but it's still very powerful if you have ult advantage. Perhaps the only other more devastating combo is Ana nano boosting a Rhine or Reaper with ultimate. Where not to play him. Hanzo can really struggle to make an impact if he is combined with too much burst DPS like Junkrat or Pharah. To be effective, he needs follow-up on the heroes he body shots, so reliable damage like Tracer or Winston suit him best. If not, he can struggle to confirm damage into frags. In the same vein, Hanzo needs to be set up in a similar way to McCree. He needs protection or shielding, and he needs space to exploit. If your team are disrupting your opponent's backline, Hanzo should be in his happy place, firing arrows into the back of their heads. King of the Hill is not Hanzo's strong point. I'm not saying you can't pick him and do well, but a clustered teamfight can be difficult for him to exploit and leave him vulnerable to being dove, as he won't have the space he needs to excel. Attacking payload and attacking capture point maps are where you can most effectively use him, in my opinion. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a rating. If you want us to cover anything specific, please leave a comment below. Also, please follow the Your Overwatch Twitter. It's where you can find updates about new videos and our most recent streams. I've been Eddie the Chump, and until next time.